What's up everyone, my name is Will and I like to talk about music. And today I'm going to be doing a review of the new 21 Pilots album, Clancy. The duo 21 Pilots have been known to deliver a somewhat edgy combination of pop, hip-hop, and alternative, and they often infuse these genres together with a helping of some cringe lyrics and production choices over the years. However, we cannot forget how hard their album Trench went back in 2018. I think that it's fair to say that people had gained a massive amount of respect for the duo after releasing that record, and it was only let down by their previous album, Scaled and Icy, which just sounded like a complete de-evolution for the group that was more concerned with the lore of the band than actually delivering quality songwriting, in my opinion. The first single that kicked off this album cycle was the opener, titled Overcompensate. On one hand, Overcompensate sounds like a tasteful way to start off an album. It has this grand piano intro that leads into these noisy and groovy synthesizers. But I think as soon as the vocals come in with the line, "Welcome back to Trench," things completely go down into the toilet, because not only does this completely set a bar for the rest of the album that it never really delivers, by the way, but it also sets a high bar for the song itself, which does not live up to the production or the songwriting that was present on Trench. While the song is a memorable chorus, a memorable hook, and some memorable elements in the production and the instrumentation throughout the track, the rapping is generally very weak, especially as the first verse literally opens with the line, "Earned my stripes, 300 tracks in my Adidas track jacket." The bridge on the track is also completely obnoxious in my opinion, and features these chromatically descending vocal lines that practically could be improvised. Despite Next Semester being a complete stylistic change from the opener, it is actually a pretty fantastic rock song in my opinion, with a tinge of punkiness as well. It has a good helping of that punk drive that helps you put yourself in the mindset of a wild night while in college or something like that. It's basically centered around someone who seems to be having these mental struggles while going through a semester at college, and they eventually lose their way and find themselves in the middle of the road for some reason, from the line, "Hey kid, get out of the road." But generally, yeah, I just love the spirit and energy of this track. The instrumentation is fantastic. The driving energy of the track, the back vocals as well, offer a pretty chilling atmosphere. However, Backslide, the following cut, is a complete disappointment coming off of Next Semester, as it quickly ventures back into similar rap territory that the opener does, and does not execute anything better than what they tried in the opener. In fact, I find the rapping performance is even worse on this cut, and the chorus to be extremely grating, especially with these layered vocals and effects coming into the mix. Midwest Indigo, you could say, is one of the better tracks here, even though it's nothing that I would say I am urging myself to return to in the future. It does have these bright synths and vocal melodies that evoke a somewhat compelling sense of melancholy, but it's really nothing that a band like MGMT can't do much better. There are certain elements of the production and songwriting that pull me into what they're doing here, but nothing really to urge me to return to it anytime soon, unfortunately. Practically every element of Routines in the Night comes off extremely bland, and there's a couple of tracks that I find are so bland and boring that I basically don't have too much to say about them. Routines in the Night is one of them. I think it has some memorable vocal lines, but at the end of the day, they're just so redundant and so grating that there's nothing to really save them. The main vocal refrain is just completely unexciting, uninteresting. The production and the beats throughout the track are nothing of note as well, and the performances all across this are just painfully mediocre. I think there's definitely something to say about Vignette, which goes for this orchestral production, pretty grand in scope in terms of the instrumentation. You have the strings coming into the beat, and the production is a little bit larger, but I think it just lacks the songwriting chops to really deliver on anything effectively grand. The rapping does not improve the cut either, which gives us just more weak verses, weak bars. The chorus should work in concept, and it's quite a cute hook, I think, but I find Tyler Joseph's falsetto here to be just pretty unbearable, unfortunately. And while I appreciate the setting of The Craving, as it seems to be this love song dedicated to Tyler Joseph's wife, and it's all about him wondering if he should basically be devoting himself more to this relationship. And I think the sentiment of the song is completely fine and pretty meaningful in concept, but I don't think he necessarily comments on it in a very interesting or potent way, to be honest. And just the songwriting in general, the chord progression, as it is just stripped back to acoustic guitar throughout, it's honestly just a cut above any boring Ed Sheeran track, to be honest. Lavish is a track that continues the heavy MGMT vibes with these glittery and psychedelic instrumentals laced over this chill synthetic beat. The main concept of the song is mainly centered around the more overrated sides of a wealthy lifestyle, but the execution is absolutely atrocious, as we get a bridge that ends with the line, "I see your problem is your proctologist, got both hands on your shoulder while you're bottomless." There's certainly something to be said about the concept on this track, and it's a fine topic to write a song about lyrically, but not only do they say nothing interesting on it, they also completely mess it up instrumentally, and songwriting-wise, I don't think any of the hooks stand out. I don't think any of the performances are really anything of note either. Navigating is definitely one of the stronger tracks here, even if its writing comes off a little clunky at times. I could see the argument that the chorus is a little bit jagged in structure, but I really don't mind it. I think that especially the second part of the chorus comes off pretty grand and epic, and even if I find myself enjoying this track more because it does have a instrumental drive, it has some great energy to it, even if some of the elements of this track are being executed well, there's nothing here that you're necessarily missing out on, especially when looking at similar artists who are doing this punky synth pop style much better at the moment. Similar to Routines in the Night, I find Snapback to be so incredibly lackluster and uninteresting that I struggle to say anything of note about it. It's just another bland, sleepy synth pop track with hooks that are so weak, they're almost practically non-existent, and I think this track especially is so weak in its songwriting that it almost just drifts into the background entirely. Oldie Station is another underwhelming piece of synth pop that seems to have some kind of a lyrical concept going on, but really does not present anything other than the topic of pushing through hard times and you need to get through things even though times will be rough. It continues its mediocre run of lyricism and tracks that present almost nothing intriguing to my ears. At the Risk of Feeling Dumb is a slight kick in tempo and energy, but not a kick in songwriting, as it just stays completely dull. It's just another one of the most annoying and grating hooks on the album as well, in my opinion. I will say that the closer, Paladin Strait, does offer a note of finality for the project. It almost gives us some shoegaze or dream pop vibes, especially dream pop. It seems similar to the way that Beach House might close one of their records, not really even coming close to that instrumentally, but I will say in terms of the energy and the dynamic that they're coming across here, it's kind of dramatic, especially with those washed out synthesizers coming in over that final chorus. So it does offer itself to be a decent closer in my opinion. Regardless of all that lore crap that they shoved into the end of the album, I really don't care. All the singles on this album, such as Next Semester, initially gave me a spark of hope for this project. It is fair to say that this is just another extremely mediocre album from 21 Pilots that is insanely incohesive and bland in many spots as well. And I think that as their discography continues, it's harder to believe that they're going to come back with an album after this that is just as good as Trench. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in that style, but just deliver something that is more interesting, more worthy of this. It seems like they could have the potential to do so, but they're definitely not proving it on this project. And I just really wish they would come back with something that is as great as Trench, but as far as I'm concerned at the moment, that must have been a fluke or something like that. I'm feeling a 4+ on this album, but let me know what you think about this project. Do you love it? Are you not so crazy about it? Let me know in the comments. What album should I review, or is there an artist that I should rank next as well? Any music content that you want to see in the future? Let me know all of that stuff down in the comments. This has been Will's music review. I'll see you in the next video.